and saw the tweet, entered our Discord, and that was back to back. And then the third day in the morning, we had the Twitter Spaces with Rob and the community. And I think for the very first time for a lot of people, they were able to get the whole overall like what we're doing instead of I think a lot of people that didn't do deep research into us, they just thought we were pictures of dragons, and they didn't really comprehend that these dragons, um, there's more on chain than the image. There's the metadata, and so just having a chance to explain everything from a high level overview was great. I think both for myself and people wanting to learn more. So I think once people got a feel for like, oh, this is what Nogen is. It's not just pictures. Then I think they felt a lot better about picking up some Nogons on the secondary. And yeah, I mean, I don't really look at the floor in a obsessive way because I look at it like we have a lot of years ahead of us to grow this brand, not just Nogen, but Nogons is a brand, and I don't think that's very obvious right now, but it's its own brand. So we have a long ways to go.
Yeah, and what I see, I mean, and why I look at the floors, because it's kind of funny because it doesn't really matter. People are dropping good ones, bad ones, or whatever in the sense of what people look for. So it's cool that way. Just to be able to look at the floors all the time as an investor, into NFTs. But yours is showing different, as like a vision. So when I look at it, it's a whole different like, oh well, I shouldn't sell those because that's not what they're for right now. It's not just a quick flip because a lot of people are making money in the NFT space. They are just jumping into projects. They are just flipping and they are making money. So I congrat everyone that's doing that. But at the same time, there's two different sides to NFTs, and I think that you're covering the side that is most beneficial to the community. And
Yeah,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think the part about utility, a lot of NFT brands will come out with their own ESDT token, and then, if you're on Ethereum, you have the ERC20. So that's definitely the theme of late 2021 going into 2022 is going to be like, okay, give us some tokens along with it, but just like NFTs, very few of those tokens will make it or have any kind of utility or value, to be honest.
Right. And so, yeah, I see with, G&G, it is something to look at as just a community driven token that will have a game theory to them. And that's what I see. So, it's all community driven, all dispersed to the community. And that's what we like to see, in a token for sure. But DeFi, I believe, well, see, and that's what is the next step in like what I'm looking at is like, okay, well, all these things that are DeFi, they're going to be more regulated in the future, but
Yeah.
with non-fungible tokens, it's just taking it the next step further to be like, well, I could take a house and do this, or, whatever. But that, like this podcast is all about NFTs and, what you can do with NFTs. But, games, me growing up playing, different games and stuff, it just adds to the hype of what you're doing. So,
Yeah, thank you. And I think it's only a matter of time until the SEC pays some attention to the whole the all the stuff going on in NFT innovation. The key for a lot of tokens, there are certain things that you can do to stay out of the SEC's way, because they're not just trying to go after everybody. They're really going after people who are selling securities, but it's kind of like an ostrich sticking the head in the sand. These tokens don't want to go through all this work to label themselves as a security, but oftentimes it is. And so if you take very careful steps to only make it a utility, And as
Yeah.
hard as it might
Right.
be to um, remove the greed factor whenever you are determining how to sell this thing or how many to give to your team, these things are not just going to help everybody, but they're requirements by the SEC.
Well, and I see that there'll be requirements for the game, as well, So, the game, it's
Yeah, I
gonna
mean,
be like
you were talking a
it's
little
like the
bit about
gas for the game, So,
yeah, I think there's a little lag, but there you were talking a little bit about houses and things, and how NFTs will eventually be used for the real estate market and all these crazy use cases. But the metaverse is something that will run to the end of the game and catch all of them.
right,
So everything, I don't think people know what the metaverse really will feel like. They know what it looks like from the movies, but
right,
in terms of feeling it, you're not just going to be able to do transactions on fake NFT goods, like fake houses in a 3D world. You can bring a real world NFT to a metaverse type visual place and do transactions this way. So man, this is truly Pandora's box. There's going to be a lot of crazy things happening because of the metaverses.
okay. I don't want to interrupt you, but I want to
No, you're
let the
good.
people know in Spaces that we are doing the live stream in Discord, and I do have that linked in the Spaces. If you want to go through my tweets and find it too, it's there. So we are doing the live stream. We don't have all the people in here. Most people are trying to hit the Spaces. I just wanted to bring that up. But another thing, in another thing I wanted to ask, the creation of these, they did come from different things that you grew up looking at. I mean, that's what you kind of brought up before. I mean, and the one thing like we brought it up and kind of talked about before was the Charizard horns. I mean, that was kind of the one thing you just pulled off that, but it is all your own
Ears.
style. Yep, right. Or the ears, or yep, right.
Yeah, I think especially in NFT culture, as an artist, it's you want to bring back some memories, but do it in a very original way. And so,
Right.
if you look at a lot of NFT collections, they try to touch base with our childhood because they full well understand the demographic of the buyer. Because the NFT space is crypto, is built on crypto, and so you don't really have a lot of like very young people yet. You normally have people in their young to middle adulthood. Some on the higher end of that as well. Of course, everybody's welcome, but with that being the current demographic, um, callbacks to nostalgia have been doing very well, I would say.
Right, right, and that was one thing that like as a child, always wanting that first edition Charizard. I mean that was it. If you had that, that was something that was the flex. As a kid, that was that one thing that you're
Yeah.
like every kid wish they had. I've seen one myself. It was like crumpled or whatever, but you don't get to see them very often, and it's going to be the same thing with these NFTs, even more so I think, because they gain value so fast, and people will end up holding them for the long term, waiting for more value to come out for them, or maybe just hold them until they die and they just created all the value and was able to extract value along the way, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. I want to have something that I hold, and I don't want to sell it, but I'm extracting the value and getting what an NFT should be, as if you had a house and you benefited off that house. That's kind of what I look for, with other projects and stuff too. It's like, am I going to really want to hold this in my wallet? You know? So,
I think what you just said, like explaining your psychology behind your actions and when you buy things, that's really understood from the Nogen side because imagine you saved up money to buy a Charizard, versus like somebody that you're really close with gave you one for free.
Right.
It's a lot less likely that you will sell the one for free, and if you do sell it, it would have to be a lot
Right.
to part with that. And so we're trying to create that with our NFTs by offering so much utility that the actual purchase price is actually negative. This is already very obviously the case with Gnogons and Emidas. The funding required to get into these collections was negative. People actually got back the Gnogon appreciated, but then also the GNG token was not a small amount, and then the NFT land is probably bigger than both of those combined.
Right.
And so I think this is the real way to build a true Diamond Hand community.
Definitely. Well, and I I did have, my concerns at first about like the rarity and stuff, but then looking at them now, just scrolling through them, it just like rarity doesn't matter as much, to them because they all have value,
Exactly.
in their own way. So yeah, I mean that's
It's
the
really
way it has
difficult.
to be. Sorry.
No, no, I'm sorry. We have a little lag. I think I'm waiting for you and you're waiting for me.
Yeah.
But it's always difficult to um, give a score for these traits when in a different setting or utility they're better.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So in
Right.
this game,
Right.
power is better, and this game, attack and defense are better. And so
Right.
when you're trying to make one rarity, like it's almost doesn't really tell you anything as a buyer because anyway, you're gonna go into the market. First of all, the end game for blue chips is has nothing to do with rarity.
Right.
People are buying for their favorite color and the
Right.
one that represents them the best on a profile picture. So I think that's very important. But then what we do from here will definitely confirm the things that we're discussing right now. That maybe for some collections, rarity number on the score is not the end all be all.
Well, and see, with your NFTs, you made it so that they're rare in their own way for their own use case too.
Right.
That makes it a lot better because then if this part of the games are lacking or they don't have as much players, then people are going to start buying for that game because there's the rewards
Yeah.
waiting there. Okay, and that's a different breakdown that I kind of was thinking too. But like saying that, it's like it does help with it because the looks aren't everything. They kind of are, but then you have everything brought in too, which it is really good, but it wasn't kind of like for everyone to see, we only were picking parts of it, so that was hard at first, but I mean everything's coming together more of like a view, so definitely.
Thank you. And I think something that isn't apparent right now but will be is like if you look at Emidas and the way we chose to release Emidas, we started with something very basic, and as the acts went on, they became progressively, um, I guess, cooler would be one way to say it, but the
Okay.
storyline as well got more and more intense. It involved more and more characters, and this
Right.
thing just grew and grew. And so this is something I don't really know where I got this style of marketing and branding from, but I find it to be very powerful to build on something and still have every building block be good on its own, but to show the market that our intention is to always continue to improve. I think that does have a place in somebody's subconscious when they're looking at Nogen as a whole.
Right. Well, and you said that before that the superheroes are gonna have roles with the Nogons. So that will be pretty cool too to see. And you have your next set coming out very soon. Was there a date for that?
Um, tentatively it be before the end of January, but we have the Supreme Hero, the second Supreme Hero, but also the Aerovec bonus hero. Um, in some ways, the Supreme Hero, of course, is like this. It's revolved around a cryptocurrency that everybody's aware of, and this is to drive more adoption into Elrond. But the Aerovec hero is, in my opinion, like a more interesting follow and kind of relate to, um, which was unintended. But all this is to say, both of them I think are going to be very well received by um, fans of Nojin comics. But the exciting thing is when they see the second one and Arrow, what's going to happen is now it's not just in Midas. You can start to see this legitimate group of heroes forming, not just like a ragtag group, but a polished elite group of heroes representing the top cryptocurrencies. Um, I'm sure I'm not the first, nor will I be the last to do something like this with cryptocurrency centric heroes, and then to a lesser extent comic books.
Right.
But I'm challenging everybody watching. Let's see who can out execute Nogen in the long run.
Yeah, and I did see like different like offshoots of like different kind of stuff like that happening, like people using like characters as like different cryptos, and then they'd make. I seen a comic like that already, but it was
Sure.
But yeah, I mean that's cool. It is a cool idea, and it hasn't really been done really like to a high scale yet. So
Right.
that's another thing. That is really cool what you're doing. Hey, so another question I have: will you have like a time where you can like tell people so they have time to unstake their crypto or their eagle to buy the next sets?
Well, first of all, for sure, I think it'll be a standard for a hyped collection to notify the potential buyers 10 days before,
Yeah.
because that's just like a courtesy thing now in Elrond community. But what's happening is, truth be told, if you look at the staking percentage going down, it's because people are using their eagle to grow their eagle. I think the end goal for all of us in Elrond is more Elrond, and it's creating quite an interesting physics of economics. And for those who can strip away as many insights into this phenomenon, whether you're a business or an NFT brand, I think there are some benefits to be gained by doing so.
Yeah, and that is funny, I mean, that is kind of like why everyone goes into NFTs, because they're like, well, we expect to get more. So we are the early adopters though, but and that is one thing, like when I do look at projects, it's like, okay, is this overvalued right now? Is this like, is this something that if I buy this, is it going to crash tomorrow and then like not be able to recover? Or is the demand going to be there? Because that's another thing I look at when I do invest, is I look for a demand. So
Yeah, demand
excuse me.
can be sometimes a tricky thing if you're maybe using that as like a overwhelming favorite in the decision making process. Um, there are things I think should be considered with the demand as well, like roadmap and the team are very important, because how many times in actual crypto has an idea been very good, but the team maybe not so much,
Right.
and therefore they never reach their potential. And so the idea and the hype has to be good, and the team and the vision and execution maybe are more important in the longer run.
Right. Right. And so, as someone that, others can follow, you are showing people, ways to execute, and I do, expect you to keep executing on this project because of, look at, there's a Nogon in here right now. I mean, it's just going to keep growing. I expect this to get to a certain level of other NFTs that that are out there. I expect that. We haven't
No,
even
I
touched
also
a big part of this whole world. Is kind of still skeptical on crypto and NFTs. I see it. I kind of do the research on like, hey, what are people thinking of NFTs in general? Just and so that's all it's based off of is like Ethereum. you know and so
yeah.
no one is looking or doing like the huge reviews on like other cryptos, NFTs, or anything yet. Like, so it is crazy. Right now we are just fueled by a community that's been in this. We haven't had that big inflow of people yet. So that is one thing. We are still waiting for that inflow of people that see the value in this space. So in Elrond.
Yes. So a lot of my I maybe deeper thinking, because we all have moments of really deep thoughts, right? A lot of my deeper thinking whenever I think about Elrond, it's like there needs to be like a wow moment, because the technology is already the best. The smart contracts are operating quite flawlessly, I would say. The team has shown they have an obsession with doing everything the right way, and our community is it's not just our words. It's everybody around us. Is like, what's going on with these Elrond people over there? They're
Right.
they're a little bit weird, but I
Right.
think it's weird in a good
Right.
way. And so, um, you know, in no two ways about it. No Gen verse will be one of those big things. This big explosion of concentration of development talent and resources and community, and to underpin all of this are the most desirable NFTs on the market right now. NFT teams are largely constructed from like one person who has a really good idea. Then they go find like their closest friend that's really good at some kind of art. They don't even care what the art is. They just have to be good at something.
Right.
And then a developer, right? So they quickly form this triangle, thinking, all right, we're gonna make a quick million and figure out what to do after this.
Mm-hmm.
But this is this is quickly gonna get trampled by teams who put serious money into the art, like investing in teams of people to make one piece,
Right.
instead of one friend that you knew from high school
Right.
doing all the pieces, and hoping that the marketing will take it the rest of the way. This will be the future of NFTs. High level NFTs coming out.
So, is there anything else big that you can bring to us today? That we have so many people listening right now that want to hear more. I mean, I can see it. Like, everyone wants to hear more, and they want to just get that next piece of information.
Um, I think at this point, after the last 3 days, the community is well aware of some of the really big things on the agenda for 2022. And we can really, this doesn't have to be our last podcast, Derek. We
Right.
can continue to have podcasts and share about Nudge and Elrond NFTs in general. But I think one thing that hasn't been discussed in great detail is the Nojin Con in Los
Definitely.
Angeles, California. Um, this is, this is an event that will have $1 million spent on it from Nogen's direct funding. The reason being is because I think we're gonna have a lot of help to put it together. I think all the people that love Elrond, I mean, forget about support. There are people that love Elrond, and so all
I
these
do.
people that love Elrond, I think we will be able to convince them that this is the highest quality international event that can be thrown, just as a celebration. We're not asking for any gains. We're not asking for this to increase our funds at all. It's the
Right.
contrary. $1 million will be taken in from a 10K sale. So this hasn't been revealed. It'll be a new 10K from Nogen. I really want to do a woman empowerment collection with some female artists, and I want this to be the first one. And there's some reasons for this, but ultimately, the money that comes in from this, all of it will be spent on this party, and that'll allow us to partner with a lot of great NFT artists and say, hey, we'll make it easy for you guys to come in here and share your brand with thousands of people. All we ask is you create some custom pieces for just this event to give out for free to our attendees. And so, again, whatever money people spend on a Nogen NFT will be negative funding. If you arrive at NogenCon in 2022, you will leave guaranteed with more fiat than before you bought this ticket to attend the event. This is
great,
NogenCon every year.
Yeah.
Get ready.
That would be great. I mean, and it shouldn't all be about the money, but the value will rise with it. Everyone likes it. Everyone wants to be in the NFT space right now. They want to find what's big. You're striving for something big. We do need more game theory NFTs on Elrond. It can't just be, hey, let's put a collection out, let's start a DAO, blah blah blah. That's it. Now we just pay LockMex to our people. I mean, that can't just be it. Guys. I mean, that's kind of defeats the purpose of like what I mean, yes, unless you like the art and they build a great community, yes, but to me, it has to grow bigger, and anything that does have the people and everything in it and the team, it's like they'll end up winning. So that's all that that's as an investor I look at. I look at the art plus what people are into plus what they can give for the future. And do I want to sell? I mean, am I going to want to sell? When am I going to want to sell? Those kind of things. And Gnogons kind of like, I mean, really hit it out of the water because, I mean, with the way that they look and, the everything to them, just screams by me, And so, like, that's just to me, That's to me. It's not financial advice. Nothing on this podcast is financial advice, not Gnogons or anything. It's not financial advice. We just give the information. Here we have a great creator who created Gnogons, and you guys are great. And thank you guys for all being here today. I really enjoyed having a great guest like Josh today here, and he kind of dropped something if you guys caught it. So I don't know if he brought up the woman empowerment NFTs before, so I think that was a first drop here. So I think that's really great, and we are going into the future with this. We need to empower everyone. So everyone will be empowered if they have a Gnogon. It's like just as a community in the community, not financially even, just like, for entry to things, just community events, it's things like that will make it, something bigger than, bigger than some comics out there right now, because there is a lot of NFT comics, but how far are they going to take them? And that's why we brought Josh here today, to see how far he wants to take this space, with the land, with the whole, hey, let's go ride our Gnogon, in a race. To, hey, we can just go and chill on our land with our friends, That's
if I can paint a picture of the Nogenverse, this is after a few years of development. Maybe, of course, we're going to push as fast as possible to do things in a way where we don't have people waiting for too long. But what I envision the Notionverse is that, I walk out of my metaverse mansion that I chose and customized, and it's exactly how I want it. And I actually reached out to a famous architect to build this thing. This is just a make believe future, right? So I walk out of this perfect dream metaverse house after having hosted my family from all over the world for metaverse family time. So, people from all over the world are coming into my Nogenverse land, coming into my actual home, ringing the doorbell and coming inside the house. And we spend whatever, 1 hour, 2 hours being a family. And then they all sign off and go. And then my friend says, hey, there's a great match coming up. Come on over to my land. So I walk out of my door, I open my bag, and then I initiate the Nogon to come out.
Right.
Then I choose what my avatar, what I want it to be. Do I want to be a punk that day? Do I want to be a validator that
Right.
day? Or some of the other 10Ks coming out. I pick one, get on this Nogon, and I literally start flying. And I cross over to the other land, and all the settings change because it's a new land.
Right.
And I touch down, and I open my bag again, and then I pick the car. So it's gonna
It's just
be
crazy, yeah.
we're gonna have crazy custom 3D cars. So I pick a car that I had to work really hard to get this one, and it's flex to the max. So I get in this car, drive over to the stadium, give it to the valet, enter
Right.
this match, and I'm betting, I'm winning, and it's exciting. There's crazy lights, and you could see everyone in this stadium here for whatever kind of duel. Like once you build these stadiums, Nogon racing will be one sport, but the imagination is where your limitations would be. You
Right.
can create
That would
sports.
be. Oh wow. So anyone could just come on there and be like, "Hey, I want to create, this." So they just create it,
Right.
and bam, it's done.
Right. It's like
So like a
if they
launch
have this
pad.
one-
So you're trying to make a metaverse launch pad. Is that what you're saying? Like you want to make it? I mean, is anyone gonna be able to come and like build on there? Is that kind of?
Yeah, the 10% of the GNG supply that was set aside for metaverse development is going to be governed by the 1500 membership Nogen DAO. And so, these are either artists that are DAO partners or they're people with tremendous skin in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think the mixture of this will produce a governing body that makes the right long-term decisions. And so they will be responsible for this 10% of total supply. And if somebody comes with an application and they say, judging by the physics engines that you guys are using in Notionverse, this game that I have an idea for is possible, and they have to pay a fee for the application to be reviewed. And then if the application is legit and it's going to add a lot of viewers and users to Elrond, then the Nogen DAO wallet will help fund development. So this is all about building the metaverse that the people want. Of course, we'll have centralized development on the lands that we own, and then we have to build the universe. But the things that populate this thing should come from community.
Right. Right. Well, that's just crazy. I mean, if people can just come and develop, that just makes it, I mean, kind of a little bit, more enticing. So, then we can have all kinds of different things happening and not just, and then it's not just revolved around Nogons or Emidas at that point. Then, it kind of is,
yeah.
but it's like then it's just a whole array. Something else could even come up and just be like, boom, you know what I mean? But it's like just starting where you're at is really awesome to then see, things kind of pop up. And this is all under Elrond, so it's kind of like, it's like ecosystems under ecosystems under ecosystems. I mean, and it could just go forever, So,
I mean, what if the technology got so good that you're watching the Elrond International premiere with your fellow Elrond, the Emidas international movie premiere, but you're watching it with your Elrond community in the metaverse.
Right.
It could be.
That's, oof. Yeah, that's I really need to be I need to be ready for this next, you know, and so you are going to have a private sale, and then I mean like a whitelist sale and then a public sale too for those for the next sets that are coming out.
The next Supreme Hero.
Yeah.
So the way we'll do this drop is people who own the full Emidas set will have a whitelist spot guaranteed to all the 7 acts. And then people who own just a few, 1 or 2 or 3 Emidas, basically less than a full set, then they will have access to Act 1. And we won't reveal any more details about the drop mechanism until we're very, very close to drop day, because I don't want people to try to split up all these acts and try to game the system. So rest assured, we are actively coming up with ways to combat the people who are trying to game the system. And so those trying to do so, do it at your own risk.
Right.
Seriously.
Right, and definitely. So, with that being said, we will probably end up ending the podcast right here. I really enjoy everyone being here, and this will be our first live premiere on YouTube. It will be going up pretty soon. I'm still working out everything for this podcast for YouTube, so I appreciate all your time today, and I am sure Josh does too. And we are going to sign out. Have a good day.